I caught him just as he was putting his tool away. And I couldn't help myself. That's how it all began. Something as harmless as a wrench in the garage, a flash of muscle under the warm afternoon sun, and a moment I knew I should resist, but didn't. It was early June in a quiet Wisconsin suburb, the kind of place where every lawn was freshly cut on Saturdays, and every neighbor pretended not to see what they clearly saw. I'd been married to my husband, Tom, for 8 years. On the surface, we looked like the perfect couple. 2 kids, PTA meetings, matching lawn chairs on the porch. But behind closed doors, we had become polite strangers. No arguments, no connection, just a silence so thick it could be sliced with a knife. Tom had taken a job out of town during the week and only came home on weekends. At first it was difficult, then it got easier. Eventually, I stopped missing him at all. Then came Jason. Jason Matthews was the new guy who moved in across the street. Early 30s, rough hands, and a face straight out of a Carhartt commercial. Sun-kissed skin, dark stubble, and piercing green eyes. A contractor who had just bought the rundown house across from ours. From the day he arrived, I noticed him. More importantly, he noticed me. He'd wave when I was watering the flowers, linger a little too long at the mailbox, and ask if I needed anything fixed. I always declined with a polite smile I couldn't hide. That day was scorching, one of those early summer afternoons where everything smelled like fresh-cut grass and sunscreen. I had just returned from the grocery store when I saw him crouched near his open garage, sweat glistening on his arms as he worked under the hood of his truck. I caught myself staring as he leaned forward, his shirt riding up to reveal the defined line of his lower back. He looked up and caught me watching. "Need a hand with those bags?" he called out. "I've got it, thanks," I replied, fumbling with my keys. But he was already halfway across the street. The moment he stepped onto my driveway, something shifted. It wasn't about what he said or did. It was the energy. A pull, like gravity, had suddenly realigned. He grabbed a few heavy bags and followed me inside. "That's a lot of wine," he teased, setting them on the counter. I laughed. "Don't judge. The kids are at my parents'. It's my weekend off." He raised an eyebrow. "All alone?" "Completely," I said, locking eyes with him. Silence. I don't remember who moved first. Maybe it was him. Maybe it was me. But suddenly, we were standing far too close. I felt his breath before I felt his hands, rough palms brushing my arms, eyes flicking down to my lips. I didn't stop him. God help me, I didn't even flinch. He kissed me like I'd been waiting years for it. Maybe I had. His hands found my waist, pulling me against him, heat flaring through every inch of me. My fingers tangled in his shirt, drawing him closer. We barely made it to the kitchen island before urgency took over. Clothes slipped off and dropped to the floor. He lifted me like I weighed nothing, set me down gently, and then not so gently. I gasped, then laughed. A sound I hadn't made in years. Everything about it was wild, wrong, and completely electric. Afterwards, we sat on the floor, backs pressed against the cabinets, trying to catch our breath. I half expected guilt to crash down on me, but it didn't. Not then. I felt alive, like I'd just woken up from a long, heavy sleep. "You okay?" he asked, brushing a strand of hair from my face. "I don't know," I admitted. But I needed that. He didn't push. He didn't make promises. He just stayed beside me, his leg warm against mine, the silence stretching comfortably between us. The days that followed became a blur. It didn't stop at one time. We found ways to steal moments. 10-minute coffee breaks in the backyard. Late-night whispers through cracked windows. Quick, desperate encounters that made me feel like someone's fantasy instead of a fading memory. But secrets are like wet paper. Sooner or later, they tear. One evening, I came home from yoga to find Tom sitting at the kitchen table, phone in hand, eyes dark. "Who's Jason?" he asked quietly. Everything froze. My heart thundered in my ears. "What?" He slid the phone across the table. A photo, me and Jason. Laughing. Too close. Too familiar. A neighbor must have taken it. "I knew something was off," Tom said softly. "You smile like that for him. You haven't looked at me like that in years." I sat down. the air thick as syrup. "I didn't plan this," I whispered. "That's the problem, isn't it?" he said. "You didn't plan anything. You just stopped trying." He wasn't angry. He was shattered. And in that moment, I realized I hadn't just cheated. I'd ended something we had built for nearly a decade. We talked through the night. Not about blame, but about how far we had drifted, how neither of us had fought to fix it. I didn't ask for forgiveness. I didn't deserve it. A week later, he moved into a condo downtown. We agreed on shared custody, therapy for the kids, and space for both of us. As for Jason, I told him I needed time. I had to be sure I wasn't just trading one empty space for another. He understood. I still see him sometimes, working on that same truck, shirt off in the sun, sneaking glances when he thinks I'm not watching. We talk occasionally. We laugh. There's still something there, humming under the surface. But this time, I'm not rushing it. I've learned that infidelity doesn't always come from desire. Sometimes it comes from isolation, from craving to be seen, to feel alive again. I'm not proud of what I did, but I won't lie, I don't regret feeling like myself again. And it all started with a man, a wrench, and a look I couldn't resist.